The Safety Net with Kendell Lenice. This is a talk show where you can feel safe to share your truth. After all, we've all been through something. We all have a story to tell. Our testimonies are never for us. They're to help and inspire others to think bigger, do better, to become wiser. Through our stories and testimonies, we can help each other heal, grow, and learn from our past mistakes in order to have a brighter and better future. It's not what you've been through, it's what you've grown through. This is the Safety Net. I got you. Our live show starts now.
All right. Hi, everybody. This is Kendell Lenice, Lady Motivator here, and you are watching the Safety Net Virtual with Kendell Lenice. This is a safe place where you can share your truth. It's not about what you go through. It's about what you grow through. So I'm so pleased with this virtual edition because this way I can get people on the show to share their story and their truths with you to inspire you from all across the country. So I'm excited. I am filming virtually from Maryland, and my guest today is Amelia Clark. She is in Kansas City, Kansas, and I'm so honored to have her here with me on the Safety Net. I hope you feel safe to share your truth today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You are so welcome, and it's such a pleasure to have you here. And this is the great thing about this quarantine, if we can find the great in that, because really it's about trying to find the great in life and the great in everything, and really see the blessings in even something as tragic as this. But I first want to say my heart and prayer goes out to everybody out there who is suffering from the coronavirus, who have lost loved ones due to the coronavirus and complications from that. My heart and my prayers go out to you all. I know that this is not an easy road for you because of the funeral situations and you having, you can't go to the hospitals with your loved ones. You can't go to the funerals. You can't go to the burials. And a friend of mine, her husband, just had prostate cancer surgery, and she could not be at the hospital with him. So my prayers and my heart, they go out to everyone out there just really trying to navigate through the new normal. But I want to say, be safe, wear your mask. Don't listen to popular opinion, listen to your gut, listen to your heart, and know what to do. And I'm really upset about, and I'm not going to go a lot into this, but I'm really upset about some of the states, Georgia and Florida, who are saying that outside is opening up and they're going to be safe and they can go back to work. They can get their hair done, their nails done, get their go to an esthetician and get a massage. I saw that whole list. It's like, stay home, be safe, stop worrying about the wrong things, your nails, your hair, and all of that stuff, and really just be safe at home with your family and really count your blessings during this time. If you're still alive, if you're still healthy, if your family is still healthy, consider that a strong blessing. All right. How are you? Once again.
I'm doing good.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Safety Net. This is a show that's on YouTube typically, and it's face-to-face, but that's all right. I love it this way too. There's more, I don't like this saying, but I was going to say there's more than one way to skin a cat. But then it's like, why do you got to skin the cat?
This is definitely, an exciting time.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And we're still for a reason. So, really just sitting still and thinking about our lives and really using our lives to help other people in any way we can. That's really the whole goal for this show and everything that I do as Lady Motivator, as Kendell Lenice. So it really is a pleasure to have you on here sharing your truth. I always say it's not what you go through, it's what you grow through. And you've grown through a lot.
Right.
You've grown through a lot. So let's talk about that. And just for everyone listening and watching, Amelia is 39.
Yes, I am.
She's 39 years old, and she's been through a lot. Right now, she's currently going through a divorce, and at 38 years old, she had a stroke. So we're going to talk about all of that and more. And it's not to get into her business or for her to just tell everybody what she's been through. It's really to help other people grow through it as well, and using your story to help others. So let's talk about that a little bit, Amelia. So how old were you when you got married? How long were you married? I want to know the lessons you learned in that marriage. Let's start there. With all of that, let's start there.
So I was actually 25 years old. I had just turned 25 in 2005. And it was in January. It's a blizzard here in Kansas. And I got married in 2005. And it was one of the most exciting times of my life. Through the process of all that, after we came back from our honeymoon, it seemed like that's when all the trouble started. And I didn't recognize through then. My husband was my first real relationship. I never had another man in my life. We were both saved. I had been celibate since I was 19, and he asked me to marry him without even being with me in that way. And so I thought this was the real thing. I was excited, and it definitely has grown me. And through that, I went through so much emotional and mental abuse. I didn't really suffer a lot of physical abuse, but I did. A lot of times I had to call the police, and I left. We separated, oh my goodness. Before 5 years came, we separated like 4 or 5 times. And I didn't know how
to what? Due to what? Domestic violence?
He would tell me to get out a lot, or he would just disrespect me. A lot of times it was just him telling me to get out. He didn't want me. And I remember the first time we got into it, he broke all my stuff. I had just moved there. He broke all my stuff. And I went to my mom's house, and I cried to my mom. I'm the only child by my mom. And she said, Amelia, I don't mind you coming here, but you can't run in and out. You got to figure out what you're going to do. Either you're going to stay or you're going to leave. And I didn't know at the time that she was really telling me to stay, but she just didn't tell me, hey, man, you need to leave, walk away. Now I know, being 39, I see it different in a different perspective.
Okay, so let me just make sure I have it right. So you told your mom that you were going through it with your marriage. You told her that he was abusive in a lot of different ways.
Yes.
And you believe your mom told you to stay.
No, not stay. I'm sorry. Not stay in the marriage, but stay at home with her.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Without telling me to stay with her.
Gotcha.
She was being supportive, but she was
Gotcha.
like, you got to make the best decision for you, Amelia. And
Gotcha.
that was, no matter what I went through, my mom never got in my business to tell me to leave him.
Gotcha.
But she told me to do what I believe is best for me.
Okay, so she was really trying to grow you up at that point.
Yes.
She was trying to paint the picture that you painted to her. She was trying to give that picture back to you. And she was trying to allow you to put your big girl panties on and make that tough decision for yourself. So she was giving you the tools. She wasn't being meddlesome. I like that approach. So what did you end up doing?
I stayed. I would leave, but then each time he'll come back and ask me to forgive him, and I loved him. Like, we worked in the ministry together, and he was my first real relationship.
Yeah,
I love him, and I still love him. And through that process, we never had kids. That first 5 years, the doctors told me I would never be able to have children. 2004, a year before I got married, I found out I had high blood pressure. I never got serious. but I was going through so much stress, my blood pressure would stay up. I was in and out the hospital a lot of times because my blood pressure would be up.
That's why they told you couldn't have kids, because you had high blood pressure?
Yep, and at the time I had diabetes.
Okay, and they said that if you reproduce, then the child might have high blood pressure, or?
No, it's more. So I also had polycystic ovaries. So they told me that I wouldn't be able to carry the baby. I wouldn't be able to become pregnant. My menstruals would be sometimes almost once a year, or I would have it every day for months. So I was going through so much in my body, very stressful. Learning and finding out my husband had been cheating on me also. So, and
this is the first 5 years of your, this was the first 5 years of your marriage?
Yes, first 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I was kind of in denial, because when, now listen to the intuition, which is the Holy Spirit. I truly believe, the Holy Spirit speaks to us and shows us and reveal things to us. But I didn't listen. I always believed his word, what he said to me. And just always forgave him. And then 2009, I ended up leaving. And I was on the road to possibly getting a divorce. But go ahead.
So what gave you the courage, first of all? What was that breaking point where you, even though he cheated, even though you couldn't get pregnant, he was abusive, but what was that breaking point where you said, you know what, I'm making up my mind and I'm leaving this relationship? Can you recall that particular point? All right, let's talk about it.
So this particular day, he had been just telling me he didn't want me no more. Sometimes he would kick me out the bed, like literally kick me out the bed. Just
like he didn't want you to be there.
Yeah, it's very disrespectful. He had told me to leave. He didn't want me anymore. And so he didn't know that when he told me that, that's all I needed to hear. When he left to go to work the next morning, which was his birthday, I packed up all my stuff. I called his cousin, which is his cousin. His wife is my best friend. And he came and got me, packed up all my stuff, helped me put in the car, and they let me move with them. And I was in the process of I had just got my license for hair, to be a hairstylist. And so I was in the process of just trying to find me, didn't realize how much pain I was in. Start searching for love, looking for love in other avenues. And I kind of just turned my back on God, because I was like, here it is. I've been fasting and praying, believing you for my marriage. Like, I blamed God, and I shouldn't have, but I did at that time. I was still very young. I think I was probably about 30. I was about 30. And I blamed God, because I thought that since I got married to someone, we were in ministry together and I was faithful to God, I thought that I wouldn't have these kind of problems. I didn't think nobody would hurt me like that.
See, because that's the myth. That's the myth. And I'm going to stop you right there. That's the myth. The myth is, if somebody is in ministry or they believe in God or they were raised right, that they don't have moments of acting a fool, that they don't have moments of really being like anybody else, whether, they're in ministry or not, whether they're on the corner or not. I think it's the individual. So I'm glad that we're talking about that. I'm glad that you're talking about that. And of course, when you get married and you fall in love, you don't think that that's going to happen. Tell me, I see the tears. Tell me what that's about.
Well, I didn't realize it was still there. Sometimes you don't realize what's there, areas that you need healing in, until you really talk about it. And I did. I thought we was forever. And I think about those moments and just the bad decisions I made because I was hurt. Not so much crying because of what happened with me and him, but the bad decisions I made in Christ. Because one thing I learned about myself is when I get pushed in the back against a wall and I don't know what to do, I just kind of make decisions based off of fear. I allowed a young man to come into my life, and I end up just giving myself to this man. I started smoking weed with this man. Now here it is, I'm a believer. I'm a believer. I stopped going to church because I was just so hurt. I didn't know what to do. And it was like a slow process though. I just didn't boom, just walk away. But it was a slow process. I turned my back on God. And I started messing with this man. And once I started messing with this man, it was my husband had came to me 2009 for New Year's Eve. And he begged me. He's like, he wanted to get back with me. I was like, no, I'm getting a divorce because I had started filing my paperwork and everything. I'm getting a divorce. I don't want to be with you no more. It's like my love for him was just like gone.
Yeah.
But in February of 2010, I ended up getting back with him. And I stopped messing with the guy I had been messing with, and not realizing what was going to come after that. Now, I had a process of my first lady and my best friend had a dream about me. And they had a dream that I had HIV. And I was like, nah, that's not going to be me.
Dream. Two people had that same dream.
Yes.
Now, did they know that you were, having sexual relations with someone else? Did they know that your marriage was on the fritz?
Yes, they knew about my marriage. They knew I was doing something, but they didn't know exactly because I was keeping it from them.
Right, of course.
Telling them the truth.
Right.
So during that process, my first lady told me she had a dream. She seen me in the doctor's office talking to the doctor. And the doctor was telling me the results. My best friend told me she seen me at a funeral giving my testimony, sort of kind of like how I'm telling you now. And so I didn't receive.
And both of them, you have HIV in both of them?
Yeah, both of them.
You had HIV. Wow.
I was like, I don't receive
know that's
that.
scary. I know that's
and
scared
I rebuke that in the name of Jesus.
I know that scared you straight. You probably were like, wait a minute. But
I didn't take heed. I didn't take heed. I didn't believe. I kept on.
Really?
I kept on
until
February came, and my husband, for some reason, God opened my heart back up for him for some reason. We ended up getting back together. And out of 5 years, never getting pregnant, all of a sudden, I find out I'm pregnant.
Wow. Did you know? Did you at any point know or have doubt whose child it was? Was it an overlap at that point? Okay.
I didn't have a doubt, but he had a doubt.
Of course.
Yes, he had a doubt, but I knew I hadn't messed with nobody no more.
Okay.
And when I went to the doctor, they do all the tests. I was excited too, because I was like, man, they said I would never have a baby. I was excited. I called everybody on my phone. I was excited. I was so excited. I was so happy. And I went to the doctor. They did tests and everything, the random tests that they do for everybody. And maybe a week later, she ended up contacting me and having me come into the office, and she told me, Amelia, you came back HIV positive, and we need to do a screening on you.
Wait. Was this still a dream, or this was
no,
real?
This is real life.
Okay, wait a minute, because at first I was like, I know I'm listening. Go ahead, say that again, because that's deep. That's deep, but go ahead.
I went to the doctor for my checkup, and then she was sitting there telling me, it was sort of kind of like how my first lady said she seen me in the doctor's office. The lady told me that my test came back HIV positive, and she's going to have to do another test so she can see how much virus is in my body because she has to protect the baby. And I must have cried. I told her my whole story. I told her my whole story. I told her everything I just told you, everything had been going on with me. And I was scared. And I walked out of the office scared. I walked out scared. And I was crying.
I'm sure you were, because not only did they dream that for you, when you think about HIV positive, it's almost as if it's a death sentence right there. And then you're repenting, I'm sure. So,
yes.
So you walk out of there. What was going through your mind at that point?
I was scared.
Because you just shocked me. Of course, I didn't know that. So viewers, you're learning just like I'm learning. So take Amelia's story and her lessons and her testimony to heart. It's not and I just really want to clarify, this show is not about being salacious. It's not about, being in someone's tea. It's really through telling your story and your testimony, it heals you and it helps heal others. Because there's somebody out there, Amelia, that just got that diagnosis right now. There's somebody that's listening to you right now. So I want you to continue. So you walk out of the doctor's office and then what?
I was crying. I was like, Lord, what I'm gonna do? And I heard the Lord tell me, now I have a sister by my birth dad, sister and a brother. I heard the Lord tell me to tell 3 people. He gave me the instructions, the 3 people. And I told the 3 people what had been going on. I told them we gotta fast and pray. And the Lord told me in 3 days, I'm gonna get my results back and it's gonna be a false positive. And at the time I'm thinking like, am I tripping? Am I just hearing myself? And I went to go take the test because she told me I had to go take the test to see how much my body. I went to go take the test. I called my first lady, my best friend, and another young lady who's close to me.
The Lord.
Yes, and I told my mom too.
Yeah.
And I went over there to Lee's Summit, Missouri, where my sister stayed. I stayed there for 3 days, and we fasted and prayed. And the 3rd day, I ended up coming back on with my best friend. We went swimming. And I couldn't even swim because I was so nervous. Like, oh my goodness. Like, here it is. I'm trying to believe that I heard God, but then also, not have doubt and fear. And so I hadn't heard from the lady. We made it back home. I'm like, man, maybe I didn't hear God. Maybe I was just hearing myself, and I ended up getting a call it was 4:22, I believe, 4:22. And she said, Amelia, I got your results back. You came back as a false negative, but I'm going to need you to take another test in 3 weeks so we can make sure that you're okay. And so
my God.
I was like, the Lord told me that, now, right now, I'm telling everybody.
I feel like this. Look, I would have had tambourine
like,
here from the heavens.
Yes. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like,
dancing and praise.
My God. Even talking about this now, it reminds me about trusting his voice.
Wow.
And sometimes I forget about this story. I forget about it. And I wasn't even planning on talking to you about this. But it kind of went in there because it goes with my testimony in my marriage. But 3 weeks came and I took a test. But I went to go take the test, but I didn't get to see my doctor no more because my amniotic fluid was leaking. So she sent me to a different doctor, to specialists. And so I went with them, and then they ended up putting me in the hospital. So I was there for the whole term of my pregnancy. And then I remember I told them before, when they was going to induce my labor, I said, well, my doctor told me that she was going to do another test on me, to make sure I was okay. And they were like, oh yes, we see that you had two false positive, 1 positive and 2 false positives or whatever, false negative or whatever, something like that it's called. And so they took it right before they start trying to induce me, came back negative again. So then once the baby was born, his doctors came in and was like, well, we seen that you had a positive and then you had 2 false positive. Can we take a test on your baby? And I was like, sure. Came back negative.
My God.
And I didn't had 2 other sons since then, so I have 3 sons.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to worry about that. Everything always come back negative. Now I know what the enemy wanted me to have, but I know what I have, and I'm good. And it taught me something. And
what did it teach you? Let's talk about that.
But during that process of being with my husband, no matter if I did ever leave, I didn't want to ever give of myself to no one else that's not my husband. I learned that it wasn't God's fault. These are the choices that I made. And so I had to live with the consequences, whatever that may be. And I never want to walk down that road again. I also know that he's my healer. And he allowed me to go through some things. And I promised I would always share with the world. But I know it's a part of my DNA of me sharing my life. Because everybody don't know how to share their life and be honest. But I've been like that since I was a kid. I always share everything. My mom said, you share a little bit too much. But I don't look at it like that. I look at it as it's my truth and I'm not ashamed.
Yeah.
And I know that I've come from somewhere. And so I learned just more about just not allowing what I'm going through to cause me to make poor choices.
Yeah.
You know?
But when you are, and I say this all the time as a life coach, and just as a woman and as a human being, when you are in a broken place, you are going to make broken decisions. When you're a broken person, the decisions and the choices that you make are not going to be whole choices. They're not going to be choices that will take you where maybe you think they'll take you. It'll take you down a long road. Not saying that you can't, what God has for you will be for you. You will ultimately get to where you need to be and where God wants you and calls you to be. But when you are broken, you are going to make broken choices. You can't make whole choices for everyone out there. So, and life is about choices, and our choices lead us down different paths. Ultimately, we need to be God to be. It might be a long way toward in type. So that's so that you talked about choice and really what you were doing, and it's not to be. You shouldn't reprimand yourself, and you shouldn't be hard on yourself because God did spare your life and spare that disease. He allowed you later to get rid of the husband, but he spared your life so you're able to talk about it and give really the glory to God.
Right. Through that process, it was definitely, I was married. Well, I'm still married. We're still in the process of going through the divorce. But 15 years, and it was definitely a learning experience. And we did good after my first son. We did good. Second son, we did good. Third son, I became a stay-at-home mom. I was still working for my son's salon, but I was a stay-at-home mom. We're kind of good, but in 2012, before I had my second son, after I had my son in 2010, I still wasn't going to church. And so 2012, I remember having a dream and I woke up in hell. And so
in the dream.
Yes. And it woke me up. And I promised I wouldn't turn my back again. No matter what I go through, I would never blame God. I would stay focused. And through the process, so once I turned back to God, we start having problems again. Like problems with our marriage.
Once you turn back to him?
Yes, once I turned back to God.
You were being challenged.
Yes. Now my husband didn't turn back with me.
That happens.
He kept on this same road, but I turned back. And so I promised myself I would never leave again unless he put his hands on me. He never put his hands on me, but he was even through my marriage, he wasn't really never physical abusing me. He was more mentally and emotionally abusing me. And not by telling me,
That's what sticks. I said that's what sticks, because the bruises, they eventually heal, but those internal bruises and that emotional and mental abuse, that lives with you. That creeps back up over and over again. Yeah.
You know, it was weird. It was very subtle. Like, he didn't make me where I couldn't go nowhere or anything. He never stopped me from going to church. It was more so little things, like, you need to lose weight. You ain't gonna go work out. Why your hair like that? Look at you. You know, he would say little things like that. He would belittle me a lot. And I tell you, if it wasn't for me knowing Christ, I don't know how I made it. I know how I made it, but I've always loved myself. And no matter what he would say to me, I would always trust God because I knew who I was. So that's what really kept me, because even though he was doing these things to me internally, I didn't realize till after I made a decision to actually walk away that these are the things that was happening. So while I was in this, I didn't know that I was having a mental, emotional abuse. I didn't know I was going through that.
Yeah.
I just took it as I was talking stuff, you know.
I want to say this, just speaking about, and I'll have someone on also later on in the week talking about an event that she has, Valencia J, for domestic violence, her Fire and Ice event. But people don't realize, most of us, you included, myself included, most of us emotionally and mentally abuse people. We do, because of the words that we use, the choice of words, the string of sentences that we use, not even knowing it. Just like you were saying, oh, your hair, or why you ain't going to, just speaking those negative words to people. Everybody at some point is guilty of that. So I just want to challenge everybody to really just watch your words, mind your words, watch what you speak into people, because what you're speaking into people might be something that they carry with them for the rest of their lives and give them a complex and make them feel less than, because of your choice of words. So we all have to really pay attention and be mindful. We can speak life into someone, or we can speak death into someone. It's in the power of the tongue. But go ahead. And then we're going to go. We got about 10 minutes left. I want to get into
kind of fast.
Your stroke. Go ahead. You got the floor.
Through that process of all of that, I end up in 2018. We had separated year in May, and I remember I found out he was cheating on me. And you know, I want to say this, and I want to say what it made me feel. I found out he was cheating on me with a white lady. My best friend is white, Caucasian rather. And it made me almost feel.
He did a wait to exhale. That was wait. He did a wait to exhale on you.
It made me feel like so angry.
Yeah.
But I had told him, and for some reason, I was working at the salon for myself. I was working at JCPenney salon, and I ended up getting me a part-time job at a credit union. Now I would get up at 4:00 in the morning, go to credit union, get my sons together, take my baby son, my 4-year-old, to my mom's house. Other two, I would get them dressed, and he would take them to school. But I did all this every day. We went to sleep at 8:00, woke up at 4, and I was working all 3 of these jobs because I felt like that we weren't going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
He told me he wasn't going to be messing with her no more. And so I remember a month before I had my stroke, I went into the hospital because I couldn't move. It was like my back, I couldn't move. And they told me those are signs of heart attack. Now, I still wasn't doing right with my medicine, take my blood pressure meds. I still hadn't took it seriously. But I had to start working out, and I knew I needed to do right. So this particular day, December 4th, I woke up, got my kids ready like normal. I was going to JCPenney salon for a coloring class this particular day. And I end up, me and him was good. I kissed him. We was happy. You know, we had just bought a house. We were in the middle of remodeling our house. And I dropped my kids off like usual. And I was driving, and all of a sudden I started having this bad headache. I mean, this headache was a different headache. It wasn't like a regular headache. I always had headaches, but this headache was different. I can remember. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm having a headache because I haven't ate. And that particular day, I was on Facebook Live doing a marriage talk, because I love talking about marriage and encouraging women, you know, to hold on and trust God, because that's where I was in that place in my life at the time. And I went to work. I got there about 10. The instructor was talking to us or whatever. And for some reason, I decided to sit down. I was standing up, but I decided to sit down. And when she told us to get back up and go to our mannequins, I couldn't stand up. I fell back down.
Wow.
I fell back down. And they was like, Amelia, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. Just help me stand up. Couldn't stand up. It was like I couldn't feel my feet. And then I remember they ended up calling the ambulance. The ambulance took me, and I remember the ambulance kept saying, you're going to be okay. We've seen this before. Now, Mama, you know, I'm talking to everybody. I can talk just like I'm talking now. And I was being silly because I thought I was cute. And I had on these leather pants. And you know, the ambulance always cut off your clothes. I said, don't cut off my pants. Just pull them off of me. And I remember I must have blanked out. I woke up in the hospital, and I heard a man say, I seen all these lights. And I heard a man say, hi, what's your name? I said, my name's Amelia Clark. He said, well, Amelia Clark, you having a stroke. I said, well, can I die? He said, you sure can. I thought to myself, like, man, I hadn't even prayed. Here it is. I'm laughing and talking, having these conversations, and I hadn't even prayed. And I said, Lord,
wow,
give me of my sins. Give the doctors wisdom how to take care of me. I fell back to sleep again. And I woke up, and I see my pastor and my husband standing there. And at the time, I didn't even know that my left side was weak, was basically like paralyzed, basically, because I couldn't move it. I didn't know my face was structured. Like, everything was different. I looked like I had so much fluid on me. I had got real big. They had to stop. So many people was coming to see me. They had to stop people coming to see me because they couldn't keep my blood pressure down, and they didn't know if I was going to make it. Wow. The doctors didn't know where I was going to be, what was going to happen. But I'm going to tell you, they was going to send me to a different place for rehab. And my mom was like, no, I want her to go to the certain rehab because her brother had a stroke some years before, and he came out walking. So she's like, I want you to go there. And I'm going to tell you, it was a blessing. Listen to what God has for you. Sometimes you think it's just your own mind thinking, but God will put nuggets and speak to you. My mama took me there.
Yes.
Thank God for the mother I had. She stood up. And I didn't know that this whole time my husband wasn't really participating like you thought he would have, you know, but my mama stood up. And I'm going to tell you, I remember that first night in rehab, I couldn't even wipe myself. I couldn't do anything for myself. But guess what? I couldn't clap my hands, but I can raise my hands. I can clap. I couldn't keep the slobber from falling out of my mouth, but it's not coming out. I can stand up.
Yeah, because you're pretty dry, girl. You ain't moving your hands. You're standing up.
Yes, I can. And you know, even though I can't do everything perfect, I still need help on some things. But I'm gonna tell you, even to where I am right now, and then going through that process of healing, and then in 2019. Finding out my husband was cheating on me again. It devastated me. I didn't know how I was going to make it. I didn't think I could take care of my boys. But guess what? God kept me. And not only that, where I was at therapy, people just for some reason loved me for some reason. And they introduced me to
because you're lovable. You should say people love me for all the right reasons. That's what you got to speak into your life. Don't say for some reason, for all the right reasons. For all
I'm
the
really
right
thankful
reasons.
for that, because it opens so many doors. Like, having a stroke changed my life. It made me learn to love me. It made me realize that you don't have to be perfect, but you can just be you. And you don't have to go through a whole bunch of craziness, but you can love yourself enough to say no to things.
Yes.
And so I learned through that process.
It's not what you go through, it's what you grow through.
Yes. Through that process, I thank God that I went through all that, because it gave me enough strength to know how to leave and say that I don't want to be treated like that.
Yes.
And it's so much more in between, and we don't have the time, but I'm going to tell you.
Oh, you can come back. Now you can come back now. You can come back. So don't think this is the last time. You can definitely come back to share more of your story. So we're talking to Amelia Clark here. She's out of Kansas City, Kansas. She's talking about going through her divorce. How many times did your husband cheat?
Oh,
that you found out about?
Probably about the times that I found out in probably about 5 times maybe. But it was probably, honestly, I'm going to tell you, I feel like it was from the very get-go, from the beginning. I think he was more so infatuated with who I was as a woman of God more than really just loving me. Now that I'm looking at it now, because he always said, when Pastor asked him why he wanted to marry me, because there's something different about Amelia. I know she really loved God. And so it made me think, I don't know. Now, I'm not going to say he didn't love me, but I don't think it was that true love.
And he didn't have the capacity to love you as you deserved also. He might not have been in that love space. He was still clearly in that running space. So if he says, or you caught him 5 times, you might want to carry the one, triple that, that amount. So I'm glad, but look at God, how even in the roughest time, even in that hardest time where you thought that your world was coming to an end, your life was over. He not only spared your life, but he carried you through to the other side so you can really see who you are and whose you are and really know your worth. Having a stroke, Amelia said, allowed her to love herself as she should be loved. It allowed her to see things differently. It opened your eyes, and you can move, you can talk, you can tell your testimony, and you can give God the glory. So just about 5 minutes left. So just tell the people, and this is important. First, I say thank you for feeling safe to share your truth here with me on the Safety Net. Thank you so much for being brave to be who you are. Thank you for wearing those earrings, because she said earrings. Tell the people what you told me in the class about earrings.
I love wearing earrings. It brings out, like I always tell my clients, put on earrings, because earrings will change everything about who you are and what you look like. I love earrings, but I don't know if you want me to say this part, but earrings definitely don't make you who you are, because the beauty is already on the inside. But I love wearing earrings because it helps me, but I'm still comfortable without it.
Love it. I wanted you to, that's perfect. And I forgot, next time I have you on, I got to wear some of my earrings. But like Amelia said, earrings and the superficial things, they don't make you who you are. The strength and the courage that you have inside of you makes you who you are. The being able to be steadfast and being consistent and being the woman or man of God that you are allows you to be just that. You're perfect the way you are, Amelia, whether a man says so, whether a good girlfriend says so or not, because it's at the end of the day, it really is what God says. So I'm so glad that you had a stroke. And the reason why I say that, because whatever it takes to get you to where you need to be, so you can begin your healing and begin your growth spurts, if you will, because all lessons hurt just a little bit, but you come out pure as gold. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so very much. And if you, in 30 seconds, if you can give someone, a man or woman who's gone through some of what you've gone through, a little hope, please give them about 30 seconds, give it to them.
I would really say, don't allow what you go through to stop you from who you are. And I should have been ready, because the Lord was already telling me to be ready. Don't recover to live to recover. So no matter what you go through, don't live to recover, recover to live. That means through your process, you're going to go through that healing and go through that to get to your purpose. Life is very hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But everything works out for the good of those who love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose.
That's it. That's all, people. Thank you so much for tuning in to this virtual edition of the Safety Net. This is that edition, the new edition. I can't go without saying new edition, so I said new edition. I have to tell y'all about that a little later, but thank you so much for joining the Safety Net, the virtual edition. If this is your first time tuning in, please go to YouTube at Kendell Lenice, my YouTube channel, and catch season 1. Amelia, she didn't know it, but she is kicking off season 2 of the Safety Net virtual style. So thank you so much. Remember, you are a star, everybody, so don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Until next time, God bless.
Amen.